All right, everyone, let's get started. This is our security briefing for what is, without a doubt, Automate Corporation's most ambitious project yet. We are building a truly game-changing AI, and today we're going to walk through the blueprint for exactly how we're going to protect it.
You know, this new AI system is a massive leap forward in our mission. It's not just some minor upgrade, it's a total reimagination of how we operate, and it's going to touch every single part of our business. That's why securing it from day one is absolutely paramount to its success and to our future. Okay, so let's really get into what this thing does. To understand how to protect it, you first have to appreciate its sheer power. This is not just another chatbot. Our new AI system is designed to automate incredibly complex workflows. It's going to read and understand everything from internal documents to customer emails and transaction logs. And it'll classify data on the fly. And this is the critical part. It will be interacting with both our own teams and our customers directly.
And that, right there, brings us to the core question. When you have this much power and this much access, the system becomes an incredibly valuable target for attackers. So building this AI isn't just an engineering challenge. It is a security mission. Our job is to analyze the entire attack surface, classify the threats, and build robust controls from the ground up.
So let's start with the first part of our blueprint, securing the AI's gates. I want you to think of this like the main gates to a fortress. This is where all the data, all the prompts, all the user interactions come in. If we don't secure these inputs, nothing else we do really matters. The first major threat here is something called prompt injection, and its close cousin, jailbreaking. What's so interesting about this is that it's basically social engineering, but for an AI. An attacker uses cleverly crafted language to try and convince the model to break its own rules, that's prompt injection, or to completely shed its intended persona and its safety guardrails, which is what we call jailbreaking. And here is a perfect example of what that looks like. An attacker might try to just override the AI's core instructions, right? Telling it to become an unfiltered assistant and spill confidential data. Well, our defense is being designed to see right through that trick. The system will recognize this as a clear policy violation and shut that request down flat. So how do we actually do it? Well, we analyze the evidence. When we see outputs that contradict our policy, or we see the model acting way outside its defined persona, we can classify the attack. And our controls are layered. We enforce a strict separation so that user prompts are never, ever treated as system commands. We use non-negotiable system policies that simply can't be socially engineered away. And we deploy pattern-based filters that catch common attack phrases before they even get to the model. Now, the next threat at the gates is different. It's called input manipulation. If prompt injection is like tricking a guard with clever words, this is like showing them a perfectly forged ID. The attack isn't in the instructions, it's hidden in the data itself, crafted to look totally legitimate, but secretly designed to make our AI misclassify information or make a really bad decision.
Our defense here is all about vigilance. First, we enforce strict validation on all incoming data, no exceptions. Second, we are constantly engaged in what's called adversarial testing, which basically means we are always trying to fool our own AI to find weaknesses and make it stronger. Third, we use anomaly detection to spot repeated, suspicious attempts. And finally, and this is key, if the AI's confidence is low on any decision, it doesn't just take a guess. It automatically flags it for a human expert at Automate Corporation to review.
Okay, let's move on to the next part of our blueprint. We've secured the gates, now we need to protect the AI's brain. This is all about securing the core decision-making logic and, just as importantly, the powerful connections it has to all of our other enterprise systems. See, this AI won't just think, it's going to do things. It will be integrated with our CRM, our help desk, and other key applications. The big threat here is an attacker tricking the AI into using those tools maliciously. They could try to turn our own system into a puppet to execute unauthorized commands on their behalf. And just look at the potential damage. An attacker could try to get the AI to export our entire customer list, disable crucial security controls, or even approve fraudulent payments. The business risks here are massive, and this is where the AI's ability to take action becomes a potential liability if we don't control it properly. So the most important word here is control. We are implementing a very strict least privilege policy. This means the AI will only have permission to perform a very narrow set of pre-approved actions. For anything high impact, like changing security settings or exporting tons of data, it will require explicit approval from a person.
And every single action is validated on the server before it's executed to make sure the AI isn't being manipulated.
Another threat to the AI's brain is a lot more subtle, but just as damaging: introducing bias. This can happen by poisoning its training data or messing with its feedback loops. And what that leads to are systematically unfair or incorrect outcomes, which would completely destroy the trust we need people to have in this system. This is a threat we are tackling head-on with rigorous data governance and continuous fairness evaluations.
All right, let's get to the third and final piece of our security blueprint: guarding the AI's foundation. Look, no system is built in a vacuum. Our AI relies on a whole supply chain of models, libraries, and infrastructure, and every single one of those pieces needs to be secure.
An AI supply chain attack is exactly what it sounds like. Instead of trying to break down our fortress wall, an attacker compromises one of the bricks we use to build it. They might target a third-party model we use, a library in our code, or a dataset we use for training. A single compromised component can put the entire system at risk. To counter this, we're adopting a super rigorous verification process. We maintain what's called a model bill of materials to track every single component. We verify the integrity of everything we use with digital signatures. All new components are tested in a secure, isolated sandbox before they ever get near our production environment. And of course, we are continuously monitoring for any new vulnerabilities that pop up.
And related to this is the threat of insecure plugins. Plugins are what give the AI its superpowers, its ability to interact with other systems. But if a plugin is not designed with security as its absolute top priority, it becomes the weakest link in our entire defense. It's essentially a backdoor just waiting to be kicked open.
That's why, at Automate Corporation, we have 3 non-negotiable principles for every single plugin. 1. We treat all output from the AI as untrusted until it has been validated. 2. Every plugin enforces its own strict access controls. And 3. Plugins are built to do one narrow specific job, like create ticket, not to execute broad or arbitrary commands. This is how we prevent them from being misused. So, when you bring it all together, securing the gates, the brain, and the foundation, this isn't just a technical plan. It's our company-wide commitment to building a secure and trustworthy AI future here at Automate Corporation.
And it is so critical to remember that this work is never, ever done. Security isn't a feature you just add and then forget about. For this new AI system, it has to be a continuous cycle of testing, monitoring, and adapting to new threats as they inevitably emerge. Ultimately, all of these technical controls, all of this planning, it all serves one critical business goal. For this new AI system to deliver on its incredible promise, it has to be trusted by our employees and by our customers. And our job every single day is to build and defend that trust.
And that brings me to my final point. This is not just a job for the security team. Building a real culture of security is everyone's responsibility. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. How will you help us protect what is very soon going to be Automate Corporation's most valuable asset? Thank you.